Okay, so today we're going to look at how to operate the photolithography equipment. So this is the mask aligner, 6-inch version, the KUB3. So you start by pressing this button and it should come up. The screen should be up. Okay, then that's the first thing that you would see. Okay, so we have different settings. We have the flood exposure, where you're not really doing any mask alignment, or you're not using any mask, but you just want to expose the wafer to UV lamp. That's the flood exposure. When you hit it, of course it brings this out. Okay, we do have a mask in there. And then let's say we load the wafer. We don't need a mask for the flood exposure. You load the wafer, okay, and then every time you want to load this inside, then of course you hit that button over there. So for the exposure settings, you can do continuous, and then you can set the duration. You can set the percent of the maximum exposure power. Right now it's 37.3 milliwatts. That's the rated intensity of the lamp and power of the lamp. So by using this, you can set it up to 100%, in which case it's going to expose 37.3 milliwatts per centimeter squared, all of that on the wafer. Okay, all right, so this is not complicated. It's basically to flood expose for curing purposes and so on. So let me do that. Let's do that. The other mostly used functionality of this is the exposure parameters are invalid. That's fine. Let's do that. Okay, so let's not worry about the flood exposure this time. Let's more talk about the mask alignment. So I hit that. I want to expose the mask. So I take it out. If I want to change the mask, which I'm going to do now, I'm going to, you just have to open this, and the mask is held by the vacuum over here. So that's the mask. That's the chrome side of the mask. That's what it should be touching the wafer once it's coated with photoresist. That's the chrome side. Now if I want to remove that mask, of course I turn off the vacuum, the mask comes out, and then I will load a new mask. Chrome side, always the chrome side should be touching the wafer. Okay, so I load it, I turn on the vacuum, so the mask should be stable now. Okay. I should have done, doesn't matter, but let me put it this way. Alright, so that's my mask, and then you have the mask chuck over here. This can hold 6-inch wafer. If you come this side, I will show you two vacuum settings, one for holding a 4-inch wafer, one for holding a 6-inch wafer. Okay, right now this is set at 6-inch. That's a 6-inch wafer. If I want to change the silicon substrate, of course I'm going to take it out, and then so you can see that's for the 6-inch, that's for the 4-inch. Okay, now if I want to use a substrate that is smaller than 4-inch, then I have to use some kind of I need to cover this with a plastic sheet, and then expose a 2-inch circle in the center, so that I'm able to put that 2-inch wafer within that center. Okay, so that's something that we need to do later. All right, so that's how you do it. Let's load up a mask. All right, let's see if this really holds, because this is not meant for 2-inch. So let's turn on the vacuum. I know there will be a lot of leakage, as you can see. Yeah, it's not very good. That's not good. Yeah.
The vacuum's not on.
No, not good.
You might need the center covered as well with the
Right,
wafer in
right,
there.
right. Okay, I think that should work. Perfect. Okay, so for 2-inch wafers we will be doing something like that. Okay, and then do that, and before just do that, you may have to measure the thickness, the total substrate thickness. In this case, I think it's about, let me put that as 300 microns in this case. We can do that as maybe 120 microns for the mask to substrate distance. Default mask distance for Vista, that's fine. Click OK. And then before you push this in, push it as in using the button to push it in, you would do a rough alignment for the wafer to align with the mask features first. So the way you do that is use the joystick and move the wafer. Okay, so these are for the camera, these are for the movement of the substrate, okay, with respect to the mask. So I'm going to make the mask centered with the substrate. That's my goal for now. Okay, and you will see that as you're doing this, you will be able to see that through the mask, the substrate moving underneath. Okay, and then I'm going to move it.
Are you just trying to get the edges of the wafer within that
Mm-hmm.
circle?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just getting the edges of the wafer within that circle. Okay, so far so good. Not the best, but we can do the alignment. Okay, so now I'm going to, once the rough thing is done, I'm going to eject, as in it's going to take it inside. So right now the mask is not touching the wafer. Okay. Once it's inside, I do that. So these two dots are the positions of the camera. So now I can, again using the joystick, so we have the left cam, the right cam. So I'm going to move them over the mask. So as you can see here. Same thing here. You can do one by one. Okay. So that's the active mask area. So let's move it to the active mask area. And once it's on the substrate, you should be able to see something appearing as soon as it's on the mask. I can already see some of the features of the mask over here, as you can see. Same thing for the right camera. So this is basically used to align the mask on more finer terms with the substrate features. Once it's on the active area of the mask, now you can start focusing it. I would recommend that you come to a feature first before you are able to focus. I can see that the light is a little bit too bright, so I can reduce the brightness so I can start seeing something. So I will move around until I hit a feature. Yep, I can see a feature there, so that I can use that for the beginning to focus the cameras, because I need some kind of a feature on which I can focus the camera. So I'm moving around the right as well. Okay, I see something on the mask. Okay, so now I can focus. So yeah, again you have the focusing knobs. That's the other way around. Okay, now that's nicely focused. Same thing here. Nicely focused. Okay, so that's one of the features on the mask. Let's see if I can find other features. Go down to see if I can see something. Okay, so cameras are mostly useful for when you want to align between different layers of the mask. So if you're doing only one mask, that's not very critical. So now the next thing that we need to do is to so now this is done. If you hit this, you can see the hard contact force. 1100 grams is the maximum. Now I'm going to get the wafer to touch the mask, monitoring the hard contact force. So you can monitor the hard contact force here. It's still not in contact. Once it reaches 0 grams, that means it's in contact. That means the mask and wafer are in contact. Let's see if I can still see the features. Okay. So once that is done, once the mask is aligned and it's on contact, then you can hit that.
Doing right now?
Let's see. We need to set the exposure settings. It's now, as we are doing that, it's basically taking the cameras away from the viewpoint so that so the exposure can happen. Yeah. Why is it stuck on that screen? That should not be doing that. Oh no. Let's. Okay. For this one, because it's a single mask, I don't have to align. Then this is all done. Okay, this time it's come. We'll do a continuous. We know that it's 37.3 milliwatts per centimeter squared. We calculated the total exposure time to be 3.75 seconds. Okay, so maybe 4 seconds. Continuous 4 seconds. If it's I probably do it at 100% for 4 seconds, and then click. So that's 4 seconds, 100%. Click that. It's exposing. and done.
Why did you say you didn't have to align it?
Because it's a single mask, right? If I had aligned between different layers, then yes.
Oh, gotcha. So the alignment's only for multiple layers?
Yep. Alright, so this is done. This is exposed. Now we need to develop it.